Good morning, everyone. I'm in the kitchen today making low sugar apple crisp. I'd love it if you joined me and hung out with me in the kitchen. The first thing we're going to do is peel up these apples. And I've got quite a few to peel and slice, so I'm going to use my peeling machine. I've got my garbage can down below to catch the peels. I came across a large amount of apples recently because I ordered just 2 Honeycrisp in my grocery order for snacking, and they were out of stock of the single apples, so they ended up substituting a whole bag of apples. And I love apples, so yay, but I didn't really know what to do with all of them because I can only snack on so many. But I thought an apple crisp would taste good. I've been trying to cut back on carbs a little bit lately, not like doing keto or Atkins or anything, but just like for overall health. I know it's not good to take in too many, so I've just been trying to find ways to cut it. So I decided to make my usual apple crisp recipe as the base, but I found a recipe that made a topping with almond flour, and that was by Sally's Baking Addiction, and I will link that in the comments box below. But for the purposes of this video, it's kind of like a hybrid recipe. I used my usual filling and her topping. Not for any special reason, just because her filling called for maple syrup and some other things that were really going to bump up the carbs. And I thought, I'm just going to stick with mine. Hers sounds delicious, but I will stick with what I know for now. But her topping sounded great, and I really wanted to try it. So we'll just go on peeling these apples. And this machine slices them in kind of a spiral, and I usually just take a knife and go in after each one and cut it in half, so you kind of have these half moon shapes. And it's good for cooking too because it does peel them to an even thickness, and that's really good when you're making something like this because then it cooks at the same time. So you've got all these uniform slices. Into those I'm going to add a half cup of Splenda. You can use whatever sweetener you like. I've also got 2 tablespoons of regular flour. I thought about using almond flour here, but I wasn't sure if it would thicken the same way. And since it's only 2 tablespoons, I figured it wasn't too big of a deal. And I've got a half teaspoon of cinnamon. Now certainly if you wanted to experiment with it, you could. But I just wasn't sure how it would work out. And I wanted to keep it kind of... I was afraid it might clump up a little more if I used the almond. Whoops, there goes my camera. Okay. So I'm just going to keep tossing this with the spatula and folding it until everything is evenly coated. And it does take a minute or two just to make sure everything has a nice layer of it on there and you don't have like a whole bunch sitting at the bottom of the bowl. So I keep taking the spatula and scooping under and folding just to make sure I get every little bit. And so I'll continue with that. I'm just trying to really get in there. That looks pretty good. Just give it a couple last stirs. I don't see any more sitting at the bottom of the bowl. So I will grab my pie dish. Now if you have a really deep pie dish, you might want to do another cup of apples. But this one's kind of shallow, so 4 cups is good for me. And I'm just going to smooth them out into an even layer. I'll just push them around until it looks about right. And that looks pretty good. So I'll set that off to the side while I work on my topping. Okay, so for the topping we're going to use some almond flour, old-fashioned oats, brown sugar, and I used Splenda brown sugar. Sometimes I use the Swerve kind as well. I've used the stevia. They all work fine. And then here's a half teaspoon of cinnamon. And the reason I call this low sugar and not no sugar is that all those replacement brown sugars do have a small amount of regular sugar in them as well, but it does cut down on it quite a bit. So I'm just going to work that so there's no lumps. And this little spatula is really good for breaking up those chunks. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you just really don't want any huge chunks of anything in there. You want it just kind of evenly blended. So I'll just keep working that until it looks good to me. We're getting there. That looks pretty good. And then now that we've got all those dry ingredients mixed together, I'm going to go in with 1/3 cup of melted butter just to bind it together and make it clump the way we love apple crisp topping to clump. I'll just kind of work that in. Again, until everything's evenly coated. It's starting to clump up a little bit, and that's how you want it. Just barely sticking together. So now I'll get my pie pan back in the mix, and then we'll do a nice thin coating over the top. Now, since I am trying to watch it, this thin coating is good for me, but if you're a topping junkie and you just love a thick, like really thick, crispy coating, you might want to double up just to make sure you're getting enough of what you want. Like I said, this amount is perfect for me. It'll be good for my family. It'll health it up a little bit while still giving us a really good treat. So I'm just going in this last corner here. And I'll just smooth it out to fill in any gaps and toss it in the oven. And once it's out, the finished product will look like the picture right here at the end of this video. Thank you so much for cooking with me today. I hope to see you again soon. Take care and have a great evening.